Hello everyone, today is May 20, 2020. This is MJ. So in the last video we sort of introduced what HDFS is, and we saw the basic concepts of HDFS, such as what do you mean by block, then read and write of file, and then what's a replica, what is the replication factor, what do you mean by name node, data node, and secondary name node, and heartbeat. So in this video we are going to focus our attention towards HDFS commands, and let me list out all the commands that we are going to see, and you will see that all these commands we have already seen in the Unix commands videos. So if you haven't taken a look at it, please do take a look at it. I'll put the link at the end of this video so that you can get you can familiarize yourself with those commands as well. So first one we'll see ls command, then mkdir, then there is a touch z command which acts as touch command in Unix. We will see put command, or that is also called as copy from local. Please note that F and L are capital here. Then we will see get command, or also known as copy to local. T and L are capital here. Then you have something called as move from local. Similarly, you have move to local, but when you run this command you get an error saying this command is not implemented yet. So the command exists but it doesn't do anything, it doesn't perform any function. You have cat command, then we have cp, mv, and rmr or rm command, and the last one that we will see is the du command. I will try to squeeze all these commands in this single video as we have seen most of this. But before getting started with the commands, I would like to spend a couple minutes to explain the difference between the Unix file system and Hadoop distributed file system as in HDFS. So let's assume this is my computer's hard disk, right? And it has its own architecture and everything. I won't dive into it right now. And this is my hard disk, so it has a memory block of 32 kilobytes, because that's the if you have 32-bit operating system, then that's the size of the block that you have for your hard disk, which is the logical partition of the hard disk. And you haven't installed Hadoop yet, so all these are 32 kilobytes. I'm not gonna draw it, but as soon as you install Hadoop in it, each block becomes 128 MB, because that's the block size for your Hadoop, right? So let us assume that this portion of the hard disk is dedicated for HDFS, and this portion of the hard disk is dedicated for Unix, which is also known as local file system. So you have to understand the difference between block size between local and HDFS. Local block size is small because it's only 32 kilobyte or 62 kilobyte as compared to 128 megabytes. So that's almost 2000 times greater than the local file system. So when we say I'm accessing file from the local file system, that means I'm accessing file which is present in a hard disk over here. And if I say I'm accessing file from HDFS, that means I'm accessing that file from the same hard disk but from different area in the hard disk. So if this concept is clear, I would like to explain all these commands, and then we will see the difference. So for example, let's say local has a file called local.txt, and HDFS has already a file hdfs.txt. or let's say we used touch command to create local.txt and touch z command to create hdfs.txt. So I will just explain the difference of these two with respect to ls, because in the interest of time basically. So let's say if I wanna run ls command in local, I'll just say ls local.txt, which is the relative path of this file. But however, if I wanna run the ls command for HDFS, then the way I run it is Hadoop space fs space -ls space, let's say, and it also follows the tree structure, the Hadoop distributed file system or HDFS. So let's say this this HDFS has this file structure. It has directory called HDFS FS1 and HDFS2, and it has a file called hdfs.txt. And HDFS doesn't expect any relative path because that's not the way it works. So I will have to say hdfs1 slash hdfs.txt, enter. So you see the difference between these two. If you are running local command or commands on local file system or commands on Unix file system, then you just have to say ls and either relative or absolute path of the file or directory. If you are running Hadoop command, then you must pass Hadoop fs-ls and then the absolute path of the file. Some of you also, instead of Hadoop fs, they write hdfs hdfs fs-ls, and that also works, I guess. I haven't tried running this command because I always go for Hadoop fs-ls. So all these commands that you are see here, you must precede those with Hadoop fs-ls. So all these commands that I have listed here, they become like this: Hadoop space fs space hyphen and then the command name, and it will continue till the rest of this, right? So if we are okay with ls command, let's see how we are going to run mkdir command. So let's say if I want to create a directory inside hdfs1, I will say Hadoop fs hyphen mkdir slash hdfs1 slash hdfs3, enter. And the tree structure, and if it executes successfully, the tree structure that you see like this will become like this. In the interest of space, I'm writing it down here. This is how the mkdir command will work. The next one is touch z command. Let's say if I want to create one more file inside hdfs3, so I will use touch z command. And I can write it like this: Hadoop fs hyphen touch z slash hdfs1 slash hdfs3 slash hdfs2.txt, enter. And if it executes successfully, then this tree structure will become like this: hdfs2.txt. Now the fourth command is put, or instead of put you can also write copy from local. Now copy from local or put command works on the concept of you take any file from your local file system and try to push it in HDFS. So this is called putting a file in HDFS. So the syntax for that will be like this: Hadoop fs hyphen put, or then everything will be same. So local.txt here and local.txt here will move to, let's say, slash hdfs1 slash hdfs1, right? And these are same command, so I will just run it once so that I don't get an error saying file already exists. And it is time to update the tree structure. So this local will be moved, not moved, copied here, so the tree structure will become like this. So this will have local.txt. Now the next command after that is get command or copy to local, when you copy a file from HDFS to local. So it will go like this. So I will try to copy hdfs.txt from hdfs1 to my local file system. And that get command is also known as copy to local. So it will look like this. Hadoop fs-get, and here you must pass the HDFS path first and then the local path hdfs.txt, and in local I'll just pass dot represents the current working directory. Hadoop fs-get, oh not get, it should be copy to local. Oops, al slash hdfs1 slash hdfs.txt space dot, enter. Dot represents current working directory. Now after that we have move from local. So it is kind of like cut paste, but yes, it is like cut paste, but the source system is local file system and the destination is HDFS. So let's say if I want to move this file to this HDFS block and I want to put it in the HDFS2 directory, so it will be taken from local file system, it will be pushed in HDFS2 directory, and then it will be deleted from local file system. So the way it works is like this. Hadoop fs-move from local, what do you want to move? Local.txt to slash hdfs2, enter. So the structure will become tree structure will become like this. Local.txt, and local.txt will be deleted from here, right? I know I'm going super fast because it's kind of a repetition of the units command that we have already seen in detail. Now it is time to see rest of the 5 commands which we have already seen, so I'll quickly go through those. Cat, copy, move, remove, and size. So I will write those commands like this: 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I will write Hadoop fs only once, and then I'll just do repetition here because I'm a little bit lazy now. So I will do cat, then I have copy, then I have move, then I have remove, and then I have du. So if I do cat, if I want to see the content of, let's say, local.txt, I will say slash hdfs2 slash local.txt. So this should print the content of the file local.txt on my console. Then cp command, which copies file from one location to another, so, and that is within HDFS. Now we are not working on the local file system, we are only working within HDFS. So let's say if I want to copy file this local.txt from HDFS1 to HDFS3 to look it like this. So the way I can do that is something like this. Note that HDFS 3 is part of HDFS 1. So it works like this. HDFS 1 slash local.txt will be copied to HDFS 1 slash HDFS 3 and enter. So it will be copied from directory HDFS 1 to directory HDFS 3. Move is rename. So let's say once I copy, I want to rename this file to something else. So I will do something like this, slash local.txt to, let's say, slash HDFS 1 slash HDFS 3 slash a.txt and enter. So whatever the name, right, local.txt, which was inside HDFS 3, it will be renamed to a.txt. Correct. Last two commands here are mr. Let's say if I wanna delete the HDFS 3 directory at all, so it will be HDFS1 slash HDFS 3. So it will delete all the content that is present inside HDFS 3, and it will delete the directory HDFS 3 also. So this is gone, this is gone, this is gone, and it will delete this branch or link as well. And last but not the least, du. Let's say if I want to see the size of an HDFS file, then let's see where I have file. So I have file under HDFS1, which is hdfs.txt. So hdfs.txt. So this should give me file in number of bytes. Let's say it is 16 bytes, something like that. So I know I went quite fast, but since most of these commands were already covered in the prerequisite, that made my life easier to just browse through it and give you the actual meat, which was 4, 5 and 6, which is different. So again, in the recap, you can see the content of the file or directory. You can create a directory, you can create an empty file in HDFS, you can copy file from local file system to HDFS, you can copy file from HDFS to local file system, you can move a file from HDFS from local file system to HDFS, you can print the content of an HDFS file, you can copy a file or directory from HDFS to HDFS, you can rename or move a file or directory from HDFS to HDFS, you can remove or delete a file or directory in HDFS, and you can see the size of the file or directory in HDFS. Please note that the size of directory in HDFS is always 0. So hopefully you learned something. Please let me know if you want me to dive into more details. I'll be happy to do that. This is MJ signing off one more day, and from next video we will touch upon the concepts of Apache Scoop. So stay tuned. Bye bye.